Me and all my friends can't wait to vote, so we'll see you at the polls next Thursday.
Tuesday.
I know, Mom, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, it's not funny!
Be part of the victory. Get out there and vote.
Promise me you're gonna vote.
Feels pretty good.
Saturday Night Live, they're joking about something that's actually kind of a real thing. Anxiety among Democrats who remember the night we're about to show you like it was yesterday, bracing for maybe another surprise election outcome Tuesday night, even with what the polls say. But there are others who are focusing on a different night. 10 years ago yesterday, when Barack Obama and his family walked out onto that stage in Chicago, that history framing up what seems to be the guiding narrative of this election cycle. When we wake up Wednesday morning, will we see the resurgence of Barack Obama's America or Donald Trump's? Joining me now is Philippe Reines, former senior advisor to Hillary Clinton, and Ken Blackwell, former Ohio Secretary of State. Thank you both for joining us for what is kind of a more big picture, thoughtful conversation. And Philippe, let me start with you because Jen Palmieri, somebody you know well, was quoted recently in saying, I'm concerned that if the election is not what we hoped for, that people will say it's too hard and become disengaged. Do you think that's a real risk today? And how do you combat it?
I do, but I'm going to be uncharacteristically optimistic. The SNL commercial was hysterical and unnerving at the same time. I think it captured the angst across Democratic America. But I think this is a good time for the next 24, 36 hours to kind of remember the best of us. You know, when I look at Barack Obama and Donald Trump, I don't see it as mano a mano. I think of America as the last 242 years. And somehow the first 240 have been very different than the last two. And I think to go back and look at what happened 10 years ago, and I didn't even work for Barack Obama, I voted for him, but I was disappointed that Hillary wasn't on the ticket. It's a time that we can, right now, believe that tomorrow night is going to restore a modicum of sanity, and it's going to be the first step back. And if it's not, then we'll just wake up on Wednesday, maybe a little late, maybe a little hungover, but we'll keep walking.
Ken, let me ask you about this, because both parties are really messaging on a couple of different issues. Immigration and the economy for Republicans, health care for Democrats, but also the economy, as you saw from these dueling messages from both President Trump and President Obama. Watch.
It'll decide whether we build on the extraordinary prosperity that we've achieved for our nation or whether we let the radical Democrats take control of Congress and take a giant wrecking ball to our economy.
When you hear these Republicans bragging about, look how good the economy is, where do you think that started?
So, Ken, that message might be just as effective for Democrats as it is for Republicans. How do you think this shakes out come Wednesday morning?
I think I start from the fact that in its 242 years, America is the most diverse, the most prosperous democracy in all of human history. And I believe that the acceleration of economic growth and the creation of an opportunity is consistent with the notion of creating an opportunity society. And I believe that this last push by the president and framing the issue, are we on growth and greatness or are we on gridlock, will be enough to get Republicans over the hump in Ohio. And so,
Ken,
no, go ahead.
I was going to let you finish your thought, but let me ask you this, because you're making your point, but let me ask you about something we've been talking about in the show, which is what the Washington Post is writing about, the resurgence, as we have seen, of the injection of race into some of these races across the country here in a way that is fairly explicit, like we haven't seen in a long time. Win or lose, will the Republican Party have to answer for that, do you think?
No, because I think that the Democrat Party has been just as race-focused with this whole notion of identity politics. The reality is that what most Americans are looking for are folks who understand that there's a gap between America's promise and America's practice. And they're looking for folks, leaders in the gap that will get us to American greatness. And I believe that the president's growth agenda, his agenda of making neighborhoods safe, no matter if they're black neighborhoods or white neighborhoods, Latino neighborhoods, is something that will appeal to women of all.
Sorry, Ken, we have a bit of a delay, so it's a little tough there. But Philippe, let me get you on something Ken just said, because there is the argument that there's a difference between being race-focused and simply being racist in some of these ads that we've seen from some of these racist groups that, in the case of Georgia, for example, both candidates have denounced.
I think we're dancing on the head of a pin. I mean, I am really impressed with Ken and other Republicans who can keep a straight face when they say nonsense like the president isn't race baiting, isn't racist, isn't sowing racial divide. Of course he is. It's all he has.
Okay.
It's what his people want to hear from him. But the blue tornado is 24 hours away, and come Wednesday, he's got trouble.
Philippe Reines, Ken Blackwell, thank you both for coming on the show. I appreciate it.